here. Today I thought I'd share with you my 6x6 mini album. You had seen a glimpse of it in my giveaway, and a few of you had asked if I can share it with you in more detail. So here it is. And this album is dedicated to crafting with my girlfriends, and there's a little sheen on the pages I have to apologize for because of the overhead light, and these are in the page protectors. So even though it is a small mini album, you can still embellish it the way you would with a 12 by 12 size. And all of the photos in here have not been resized. They're all 4 by 6, and I've cropped them by cutting them down just with my paper trimmer. So here I just put 4 little butterflies on there, and there's my daughters when they were crafting with me, and that is my girlfriend's daughter there, and I just added a little embellishment up here. And then here's my girlfriend. Her and I go away a lot for our little getaways. She's a sweet, sweet lady, and as you can see, she's my friend. And here is her other daughter, and I had just punched these little flowers and added a little sparkle in there. Did a little bit of stamping. And what I first did, here are her daughters again, what I first did with this album was I cut all the papers from one collection. And I usually don't use the same collection for every book I do, but this one here I did. It was just a lot simpler. And here is, her and I went away for a little, I think it was an all-day little crop. And I like to, it's kind of hard to hold on to that, but I like to hide journaling back here because they're tiny. And I like to journal. I have to put some of my journaling in the backs of the pictures. And then here is me and my sister-in-law, and we're going to her camp again to scrapbook all weekend. That's why I'm looking a little haggard there. It was at camp. And then just a punched flower out of some pattern paper and a little bit of sparkle. And here we are again. And this was just a scrap piece of paper, and I was playing around with cutting the edges off, and I thought I'd use it in there. And then here, this one's a little bit more elaborate with the pages. I just punched some circles out, inked around them, added a little bit of sparkle, added some little punched flowers. And then here was the first year I went for Scrap for Heart. These are 2 different days, but they are facing each other, so I wanted them to coordinate. And then again here, every time you see a little tab, there's more journaling back there. And then here is another weekend at my sister-in-law's camp. We're trying to be all hipster there, and yeah, it's not really working out. And my husband had bought us these matching shirts for this weekend. And then there's my daughters at that same weekend. What they like to do at camp is eat their treats and play video games. And then here was another Scrap for Heart. And again, journaling on the back. There's a little tab there, so you pull it out and there's some journaling, and then just stick that back in there. And this one here, I was going to put my ticket here, so I haven't completed this page. And then this one is, I think, the same weekend of Scrapbook for Heart and my silly friends. And that is it for this album. So as you can see, even though it is a tiny size, it is only a 6x6, you could still embellish it the same you would with a regular scrapbook page. And it's just so cute to hold it, and it's so much fun to decorate them. One thing I did with this album is first I used all the paper from the same paper pack, which I normally never do, and I cut it into the 6x6 sizes, and this is double-sided paper. So what I did was I went through the whole album and I just stuck the papers in each page. And as you can see, let me grab a page out here, is I used both sides of the paper. This is both sides of the one sheet of paper. So I got more use out of my paper, which I really don't have to worry about that because I have so much paper. But that just made things go so much smoother. So when I was ready to work on it, I already had the background paper, and it coordinated with the other side of the paper because I always do 2-page spreads. So I didn't have to worry about the papers not matching, and then I just added my embellishments on there. So that's a little tip for you if you wanted to or needed to make a quick little mini album. So there you go. There is my little tiny 6x6 mini album. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I've inspired you to maybe try your hand at a different size album. And I hope you had a creative day today. Bye now.